This is NRL Boom Rookies.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of NRL Boom Rookies. I am Matt Bungard. Alongside me, as always, Mitch Doyle. Hello.
G'day, everybody.
All right, we are back for another question time episode. We've got Coltrane Cup update as well. But Mitchell, first of all, some big news coming out of the Broncos this evening.
Oh, we're talking about that. Well, it looks like Payne Haas is agreeing to the 10-year record contract, even though I'm not sure it's 10 years. It looks like it's going to go to the end of 2027, which I don't know how that makes it. Is it a 20? I don't know.
Wait, he debuted in 2019, and
yeah, so
that's still only 9 seasons. Know.
Okay, well, this is a 10-year deal. This is bizarre. Anyway, looks like the Broncos are going to up him and extend him, which is brilliant. It's 3-year upgrade plus 3-year extension, so it's not a 10-year deal. But you know, he's earned that at Brisbane. I know you'd like to see them take advantage of the current contract as a Brisbane fan, but considering how much they've messed around the last couple of years.
I think I know why they're calling it 10-year contract. It says in July 2018, the Broncos re-signed Haas on a 6-year contract. So if they're starting it from 2018 to the end of 2027, that's 10 years. So
yeah, but they're separate contracts.
I mean, I get it. I think that's just what they're doing. But yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's going to be upwards of $1 million. I'm assuming probably not $1 million because nobody's like getting those deals right now. But as a Broncos fan, like again, you'd like to see the value, but it's just quite funny seeing them crying, "Poor, we've got no cap space," and they keep finding cap space the next couple of years because what a shock! They lost 1 million players. Of course, there's cap space. There's no plans what they're doing with it, but he deserves that bump. And the weird thing is like I know there's always concerns about these long-term deals. I was concerned that we're going to add like the 3 years and add 7 years to it and make a 10-year deal.
Yeah.
I'm completely fine with it being the end of 2027.
He still will only be 27 when that happens.
Yes, he's 21 now.
It's like, that's as far as really long-term deals in the NRL go, that's really low risk, I think.
Yeah, and we had interesting discussions about him on our Discord today, and this, you know, there is still some weaknesses in his game that he's working on. He started ball playing a lot since Lodge and Pangai departed, and he passed the ball like 9 times a game the other week, which is the most he's ever passed in a game. But concerns like his goal line D isn't great yet, which is true, but it's just quite funny just the level of player he's been now. That, like, you know, there is no better prop at the age of 21. There hasn't been one. You know, like. He's such a good young player at that age. And I know not development's always linear. He probably doesn't always keep getting better, but the fact that he keeps adding things to his game now, who knows what he'll keep turning into. But
I mean, even if he doesn't get any better than he is now, that's fine.
Yeah. And I know I would love to see them all take advantage of the next couple of years, but it doesn't work like that in the NRL. If you're at a club that's middling and the player isn't happy, there will be other clubs banging on that door and getting him, you know, agitating, offering him deals, getting him, you know, lined up to go somewhere else for more money. And Brisbane are not the club they were at one point. So they're not South, they're not the Roosters, they're not the Storm. They can't just happily sit there and tell the guy to suck it up because they just don't. And he did mention a couple of weeks ago, it was quite funny after Pangai left. It annoyed me. He was talking about, I'm putting contract talks on hold because, you know, just realized it's just a business and, you know, Pangai, you know, let my mate go or whatever. And it's like, mate, like, grow the fuck up. So it's good to see he's come to his senses.
I mean, and it probably wasn't a zero-sum game in terms of keeping just one of the three, but I think he's clearly the best long-term option out of him for Feeder and Pangai for Brisbane to keep if they could only keep one of them.
Yeah, and I think that's a choice we would have made at the time too. You know, a couple of years ago, I think most Broncos fans have made the same choice as well. So that's good. And he's shown the last couple of weeks that even without all those other guys, without Lodge, without Pangai, with Carrigan injured, you know, starting alongside Flegler and Kobe Hetherington or alongside Kobe Hetherington and Grace Kennedy, that he can carry that forward pack still. And just with the way the game has changed a lot, you don't need as many big yardage and meter eating forwards. And maybe it'll change again, but I'm pretty happy with that deal and to not spend as much on the other middles. And I hope that what they'll do, they'll find better balance in what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Should we move on to the Coltrane Cup?
Yes, we should.
For new listeners of the show, this is our tipping competition where You pick one game per week, but over the course of the season, you have to pick the same number of home and away teams, and you must pick every team in the league at least once, which is going to play a huge part in this weekend, Mitchell, which will probably end up going a long way to deciding who wins the whole thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to pick the bloody Cowboys this weekend. Somehow they went from being competent to being winless for the entire second half of the season. They're playing the Dragons. Campo, one of the leaders, has to pick the Dragons.
They both have to pick the Dragons.
They both do.
Well, I don't know. Who are the Dragons playing in round 26? Oh, they're playing Souths. You can't do that. So, yeah, they pretty much both have to pick the Dragons this week.
So, essentially, this week might decide the Coltrane Cup, that if the Cowboys win, it's very likely I win.
Yeah. Although there are two people equal with you on 40 points, they might have some shit to, like, they might be able to tip Manly this week and get a 60-points boost or something. But yeah.
But I'm saying, though, if the Cowboys win, I can leap those guys. If the Dragons win, those guys stay ahead.
If the Cowboys win, if the Dragons win, the winner of the comp will be one of those two people. But if the Cowboys win, you will be sitting prettier. You got a 50-point for and against swing to make up on our leader. But Cowboys could beat the Dragons.
Are we including last week's yet? Though?
Yeah, it's updated.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so maybe I can't. We'll see.
No, well, Cowboys could win by 25.
Yeah, they could. We'll see. But those lineups this week,
I think they win this.
A few weeks ago, I looked at it more confidently, obviously. But now this week, they actually do have some decent changes. They've got the Hammer at fullback, as happened last week. Val Holmes in the centres. Murray Tuolangi's back on a wing. Tamalolo's back, starting at prop with Jordan McLean. And then they've got Ruben Cotter at lock. And that Jeremy Nanai has been killing off the bench. But you look at their team now, and it's like, oh, that Cowboys team looks okay all of a sudden. Whereas you look at the Dragons, they're starting Jaden Sullivan at hooker, who was okay last week. Tyrell Sloan at fullback. Amone's at the 6 with Corey Norman at 7. Not looking crash hot. Billy Burns starting the back row still. I'm in it with a pretty good shot, to be honest. I feel like I am.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And
I'm shocked that they got this long with not picking the Dragons. The Dragons played the Bulldogs in round 9.
Yeah, that's true. They did. But
they were still good.
That's how we deal with these things. I don't matter anymore. I had to gamble and pick the Bulldogs last week. They got pretty close. And, in a different year, a -6 points differential would be a pretty good outcome for a Bulldogs pick, but not enough for me. But I'll be taking Manly this week. But it doesn't really matter what I do. So, yeah. If you want to play in this next year, you have to be a member of our Patreon. So keep that in mind. We've had a bunch of people, new listeners of the show, old listeners of the show, all say this is the most fun tipping comp I've ever been a part of. And with good reason. It really, really is so much fun. And once you get involved in it, you'll never look back. So if you are thinking about getting involved next year, do it.
Perfect.
All right. And now let's move on to question time.
Okay, question time. Patreon.com/NRLBoomRookies to get involved as always. And those first questions over on Patreon. Manny McP always seems to be one of the first to win. Quick on the trigger. He says, who was a rugby league player, so personality who you loved until they got social media? Here's Jamie Soward.
Eric Groth.
Yep. That's what comes to mind as well. I loved Eric Groth, a player.
I thought he was a great player, but
and and I liked that he preferred being a musician than being a player, but was a terrible musician. That also spoke to me. But awful on socials. Also, it doesn't count as socials, but Darren Lockie's media career really annoys me.
That's fair. Does anyone go the other way for you in that regard?
Gone up my estimations.
Michael Ennis?
No, I always liked Ennis. It might be the general people he gone up in, but I've always been an Ennis fan, so that's fine for me. Nothing new there.
And I think Billy's been pretty good on Channel 9. I think that'll go a long way to people who hated him because he's a Queenslander, liking him a bit more, maybe.
I'm trying to think. And I always liked Cooper Cronk. I don't know. James Graham's not a bad analyst, but I didn't like him his first couple of years because he bit someone in the grand final. But I like James Graham by then anyway, so I'm not sure.
James Graham might be a good one for me, actually, because obviously, given that a lot of his indiscretions were against South, I was never really a huge fan of him.
Yeah. Mm.
But Eric Groth, number one.
By distance. And Jamie Soward also not great for me. And then there's some players I didn't like or thought nothing of, who now I also don't like, but it's I just thought nothing of them.
Yeah.
Josh Brandon, what's the worst trend in the NRL right now? The side-shaped mullets or the pathetic array of boy moustaches?
until someone comes out with a full style and moustache, I don't want to see any more of this moustache nonsense. So I'm going to go with that because at least mullets are funny.
Well, I think it's when you start showing your age, and it's me as well. But it's like you're in your 30s or similar, and you're going, "Oh, geez, look at these idiots with their mullets," and then you realize like that's rugby league players reflect fashion trends. Like young people have mullets are back.
Are they actually?
Yes, they are. Right. There's a couple of dudes, like, I don't look at them, but I saw one the other day, like, YouTube suggests me these terrible Aussie comedians who are, like, in their early 20s, and both of them have mullets. It's like, does that is a thing again now?
Isn't it, like, an ironic thing, though?
Yeah, but it still doesn't mean they're not a thing. Like,
I guess.
the sprinter in the Olympics as well. Like,
yeah, true.
Mullets always an ironic thing?
Yes.
So, yeah, it is more of a thing again now.
Fair enough.
Simo was a pioneer.
That's true.
But, boy moustache, I do feel sorry for them as well. They're in this. The Sache mullets have been even worse because the fellas, they can go to hairdressers now, but for a while there, they were getting the quarantine cut. So, not great. But in Brisbane, they're fine now. How about the other thing? Where was I talking about this one? Not a trend, but the odds-on game today, leading to Moses Sully throwing Josh Schuster's phone in the water.
The odds-on game rules. It's so good.
It does, and people don't understand what the game they're doing is. So, you could do it at a pub and call, odds on you sculling your next beer.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, the person you challenge is to say a number. And if you say the same number as them, they have to scull their beer.
Correct.
In this instance, and unfortunately for our boy Josh Schuster there, is that obviously when you accept an odds on, again, it's a 1 in 100 shot. Or 1 in 101 shot. Anyway, he's accepted a challenge for throwing his phone in the water innocently, and they've both said 66 at the same time, which means Sully can throw his phone in the water. But yeah, you can see our boy Schuster being devastated, and obviously it could lead to many people wanting to throw hands. I don't want to throw hands in that situation, but unfortunately, he accepted the game. Those are the odds he was playing. He accepted it. He lost, and the result was what we saw.
Hey, if we don't have our word, what do we have?
Yeah, but I just that was within 15 seconds. He'd been called out for some dumb odds on and had lost his phone. What a terrible 15 seconds for him. I almost wish he didn't throw it so far. I wish he threw it close enough for Schuster to toss up the jump in. Because, like, you jump it in, right? Someone drops your phone over the edge next to you. Do you jump in after it?
Yes.
I think you do, yeah. I mean,
I dropped my phone in the toilet yesterday.
Okay,
and I got it.
In what context? In the context of this toilet?
When I have a shower, I put my phone on the sink to listen to music.
Yeah.
And then when I got out of the shower, I was putting my toothbrush back in the bathroom cabinet, and my arm knocked my phone off the sink into the toilet.
Yeah,
it wasn't my finest moment, but I got it out immediately. And because new phones like are reasonably
waterproof,
it was fine. So
yeah, so
left it on like the counter to dry out, and yeah, play on.
Yeah, that's good. Because I've got to say, if it's like during the business, that's an awful way to fish that phone back out.
Yeah, so well, no, thankfully not.
Yeah, so. I've had mine go into the shower twice.
Poor Josh, I'm watching it again now.
Yeah, he's just
he looks so sad.
I would be too. Yeah.
It's so like it's not even like the material value of the phone. It's just like the annoyance factor. Like you and I both got new computers in the last week. Like it's so annoying to just re-log into everything that you're logged into, like on a device. And
unless he was a moron, it's all backed up anyway. So he'd be able to restore his phone. Unless he's one of those people that hasn't like updated their Apple in like 3 years. But yeah, just the annoyance of have to go get a new phone and like get a SIM card and then do all that stuff during the footy season. Not great, but that's the odds I was playing. And what was I going to say for that though? But yeah, I've dropped my phone in the shower, not in the shower, but into the shower when I've started it up twice somehow. I dropped it the other day and took like 3 bounces and turned a corner to go into the shower. I dropped it like our sink is next to the shower and the door swings open. And it somehow I've had the door open and the phone, I put it on the sill as you do there, and it dropped, bounced back behind me, and then bounced left. So I went back and left into the shower and landed in just flattened water. But as you said, modern phones are like, they're waterproof pretty much.
Yeah,
so my Pixel, I could put it underwater and leave it there. But
yeah,
the second time it happened, I didn't care. The first time, even though I know it's waterproof and I have got it wet before, the first time it happened, you still have that immediate reaction is that like it's dead. You know, the immediate thought is, no, it lives. It's just annoying because like There's water in it, and it does this little annoying thing. Keeps telling you that there's water in the charging slot the whole time.
Yeah, thankfully mine was like because I had a case on it as well. I just popped it out of the case straight away. The phone itself wasn't actually really even wet at all. I just left the case out to dry for a couple of hours, and that was it. So,
okay, how do I say this next city? From Cole Robson's question.
Oh yeah.
I know Lesignan.
I think, yeah.
James Loney has joined FC Lesignan. Oh, fuck, I don't know what I just said.
You're pretty
for 2022 in what appears to be a captain coach role. He joined a prestigious group of ex-NRL players such as Todd Carney, the Byron Bay Red Devils, Ben Pomeroy, the Thirroul Butchers in this unique position. What other ex-players are you aware of that are taking up captain coach roles, and how do you think and how much do you think the French hate Maloney? Well, French love Maloney.
Yeah.
They're first in the Super League because of him.
Yes. The captain coach thing is definitely more of a Harry Ramage or Nick Campton question. I feel like they're much more across these things than we are. But
okay, so it's Perpignan he's joined, right? Or has he joined this Perpignan doesn't exist?
Well, Perpignan is a place, but like FC Lesignan is definitely a rugby league.
The Lesignan. Sorry, I wrote the wrong thing in Google. Lesignan. It is Lesignan.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, FC,
isn't Perpignan where the Catalans are?
Yeah, well, it's okay. So I'm trying to figure out. There's another player who's going to join him there, I believe.
Oh,
can't remember who, but are they doing Are they doing like a captain?
Well, they've got Jacob Gagan and Sam Moa. So
Sam Moa was there.
They got all the stars.
Yeah, Jacob Gagan. Yeah, Sam Moa was there. And what division? They're like in the next division or two divisions.
Well,
down?
no, I think
the French first division.
Hold on, Jacob Gagan played a first grade game for my beloved South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Yes.
One game. When was that? I don't remember that. It didn't happen. Anyway, but no, I think they're in like the top French league. Yeah. So like they can't get unless they're getting put into the Super League. I don't think they can go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think they are, according to Wikipedia, they won the grand final in the most recent year. They beat Carcassonne.
Yeah,
16-12.
And they've got Wesley Lolo there, who used to play for North Sydney Bears as well. You'd be cheering living in France playing rugby league if you're like
you'd have to be tempted by it if you were like a fringe first grade player, right? Like it would have to be so tempting.
I mean, if it's a living wage, hell yeah. I mean, not the same situation, but I know like Matt Parcell went to England because he was like, I want to live in Europe. Like my career can take me there. Why not? You know, not many footy players choose like ambition. If you're a rugby league player, the NRL is the pinnacle. So generally, people want to play in that competition. Whereas Matt Parcell chose for the location rather than the competition. Not many do that, but yeah, I'm surprised not more guys go over there and try playing. First division French rugby league. Maybe many don't even know it's an option till now. Maybe James Maloney can go on a poaching raid of reserve graders.
But yeah, I think good on him. That'd be fun. But I don't really know much about players finishing in the NRL and going to do that sort of thing. So
yeah, neither do I. It's very much more of a and it's everyone's got their spaces. Very much more a Nick Campton and a Harry Ramage question that is for us. And I believe we've got another question about it as well. And I honestly don't know of many great captain coaches. I'm sure we've got Harry Ramage screaming at the radio or wherever he listens to this.
The wireless.
Yeah. Listening to us now.
Yeah.
Well. Anyway, Sam Stevens. Who is your favorite heel and your favorite face in the WWF WWE era?
Edge is the best. Edge is the best. Edge is the best heel
ever
for me. For me, anyway. Followed by the Miz. Best face personally was probably CM Punk.
Was he a face or just popular?
For large, depends what era. But when he did the whole pipe bomb and then left the company, he was the biggest face in the company by a distance.
But was he a face or was he just over?
Well, I think it kind of just. Well, they booked him as like the enemy of Vince McMahon. I don't think you can get much more face than that.
Yeah, fair enough. You can. Well, I haven't got current ones, and Edge being a good singles wrestler. I was getting out of wrestling when Edge was turning to singles, so I still can't get my head around him being good. Because I just haven't paid attention long enough. My favorite, I always liked heels. Even as a kid, I always hated the faces. Always a heel guy. Loved Chris Jericho as a heel. Loved The Rock as a heel. Loved the rare moments of Stone Cold as a heel. Loved when Stone Cold would gang up with and join Vince randomly sometimes.
Yeah.
Loved him as a heel. And also loved not now. Like I don't. The business decisions, yes. Vince, the businessman is annoying. Vince, the heel when he wrestled, I loved it. When I was
true,
younger.
very true.
I love when he did the roids up and wrestled. Great heel.
Still, when he jumped into the ring and tore both his quads at the same time, still one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Perfect. And faces I like? HBK. Shawn
Yeah,
Michaels
fair.
I was a big fan of. I don't really like any faces though. In the rugby league world, who is the biggest or best heel and biggest or best face, including both current and past players and personalities?
I have pretty clear-cut answers for both of these.
Mm-hmm.
I think obviously Cameron Smith is the biggest heel. Like, I don't understand how you could even argue that. Like, and I think the biggest face is Benji Marshall.
Yeah, so I agree with you on both. I think I couldn't think. Benji has the advantage of not playing Origin in that regard, that he hasn't got a state that hates him. Like I think Thurston was quite a big face for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Despite his in the incident early in his career, like he never really got the hate of being a Queenslander like the rest of them really did. But yeah, the biggest heel by some distance is Cam Smith. Like I can't think of one guy who's
even next. Hated. Is it Gallen? Probably.
Yeah, potentially. Maybe there's some guys early we're missing as well. I mean, Justin Hodges for a while there was a giant heel.
Current players, it's probably DCE, right?
He doesn't want to be a heel either. Hey,
he's getting that X-Pac.
People just boo him anyway, no matter what. Yeah, and then the current biggest face.
Well, Benji's still playing, so.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's just clear that he's just so well respected by everyone that both watches and plays the sport. Like,
if we cut out Benji, who's the current biggest face?
Tell you what, Munster's up there for a heel as well, by the way.
But he's also a bit of a face.
Is Brandon Smith the biggest face?
Yeah, I think so. I was gonna say
everyone likes Brandon Smith.
I thought Nico Hines is getting up there pretty quickly.
Everybody really likes Brandon Smith.
Yeah, the cheese.
Oh, actually, and the Morris boys, the tag team face champions of the last decade.
Yeah, they will put someone to a table, that's for sure.
The Morris boys versus the Leilua boys versus who can be the third tag team at TLC. Who is of the three iconic? Oh, the Burgess boys.
Okay, so the Burgesses have to be the Dudleys.
Yes.
Big, dumb, and stupid.
Yeah, correct.
Like other brothers from brothers and cousins, whatever that exists. Yeah. Okay, who are Edge and Christian?
I think the Leiluas are Edge and Christian.
And the Hardy boys are the Morris boys. That's what I think too. Good.
Yeah, I agree with that. Excellent.
Luke Sturkenboom. Thoughts on Twall? Is he set up to be the next Aidan Tolman and Ryan James? Solid, but we'll just miss out on rep honors.
Who are we? NRL physio?
I mean, I don't think Alex Twall's ever been close enough to being an Origin player, in my opinion. He may have been
a decent player.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him in the Ryan James echelon.
He's firmly he's like a solid first grader, but like he's a tier below even guys like Finucane and stuff. So
yeah, I feel like Twall's one of those guys who gets criminally overrated because he has good tackle efficiency. People say, oh, he only misses like one tackle a week. Have you seen that team defend?
I think he gets overrated because he's the best forward in a very, very bad forward pack.
Yes. But like, yeah, I mean, Ryan James in 2016 scored 12 tries as a prop.
Ryan James nearly won the Dally M. Let's put some respect on his name. Yes,
and he was definitely, he should have played Origin. And he had that one time when he got called up for Origin and then like...
didn't Freddie see David Clemmer play that weekend and change his mind or something?
He told Ryan James he was in and then he watched the Sunday game and Clemmer played better. And then he's like, sorry, Ryan, Clem's back in.
If any other coach did that, you'd be like, what a lunatic. But Freddie does it, you're just like, oh, Freddie.
Yeah, that's it. And Aidan Tolman obviously become a meme himself now as well. But Aidan Tolman in his early days was actually a good rugby league player as well.
Exactly.
And I think Twall would be lucky to be who Aidan Tolman was when he was
Aidan Tolman had a great career. And it annoys me that people... And look, you're right. He's become a bit of a meme player. But, there's something to being in for... Like, he's basically been, I think, as good as Aaron Woods, but with none of the fanfare.
Yes. And he's currently... Only signed up for this year, but he's on 294 or 95 first grade games. That poor bloke if he doesn't get there because of like
he hasn't been that bad this year.
He hasn't.
Someone will sign him.
Put him in a better team. Yeah, he's not amazing, but he hasn't been that embarrassing this year. Like he
played in like 3 or 4 grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, and I know for the last since maybe 2017, 2018, he really hit a wall. But that's like 10 years into his career. That's a long time in. So yeah, I think Twall's a decent forward, but and I hate doing arbitrary top 10, top 20s, but it probably wouldn't crack my top 20 middle forwards. And considering there's, 16 clubs, if you're supposed to be Origin good enough, you should be cracking that list.
Yeah, I agree with that.
David K9. Hey guys, what do you think of the Adam Dewey disallowed try for apparently holding in the scrum? I've never seen that before and didn't notice any apparent holding. As isn't that what you do in scrums?
I hated it. Garbage.
I have seen it given before, and you're not supposed to hold the opposition in scrums. You hold your teammates. Your arm, you touch the opponent. You're supposed to hold them.
I still thought it was very what's the word? Pedantic.
I agree, and they can defend the decision because it is, the correct decision in air quotes. I agree that it was not holding, and we've seen tries given or ignored holding or ignored often. I mean, the Sharks won a grand final doing that, but it has been pulled up other times too. Though it's not like it hasn't been pulled up, just not very often. Anyway, Don Miller. This year's point scoring record obviously owe a lot to BVL ball, but is there a reason you can point to the high scoring across a season in 2001, particularly the Eels and the Knights? With any rule change that year, or was it a statistical anomaly? I was watching back, I can't remember anything particular he says. Well, good I have the answers for you, Dom.
Do you?
I looked this up ages ago when we first started talking about the rule changes last year. And history repeats itself, as it always does. It was the search of fatigue, fellas. And it was the year they got rid of the unlimited interchanges. Interchanges went to 12. And one of the quotes from the time was the rationale for that was that the increasing use of unlimited interchanges was diminishing the quality of the game as a spectacle, because the criticism was that star players who played the entire 80 were being forced to do it in a fatigue state, whereas relatively fringe players would constantly rotate and stay full of energy. So they brought in that rule change in one off season, and obviously doing that in one off season, it's going to have a big impact, because going from unlimited to any limit number is a massive impact. Because if you look back at those games, I can't remember the number. I remember we've collected the data for those games again historically, like the 1998 grand final. I'll see if I can find it, but it's like one of the teams like 30 or 40 interchanges. Like that, because you just keep doing them. So going from doing that to doing none is a massive fitness change, especially when it wasn't exactly, people weren't as fit then as they are now, So
no, it's crazy that it used to be unlimited interchange. Just looking at the state of the game now, but just imagine if these guys could just roll off the field after every 2 sets and just
So I know a lot of these are broken. Like the system doesn't work properly. Bulldogs in the grand final that year, 40 interchanges. Brisbane 37.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wait, in one game?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the grand final that year.
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah, because you could just keep rotating. So obviously there'd be situations where you have you'd have someone go off for one set. You'd have Petro cut the ball up or whatever, go off for the defensive set, then come back on for the next set with the ball in hand.
You could game that so well. You could just get a bunch of Alex Twal, Elijah Taylor, Luke Stewart type players as your bench forwards. And then you just sub them on every time you don't have the ball. And then you bring back on your Fui Moi Moi types every time you're hitting it up.
Well, that's why. That's actually a rule change. Obviously, has had a good impact on the game since then. And the first year of it was lots of blowouts. But also rugby league through that whole period there was going through some strange times of teams moving, merging, getting killed off and similar. Lots of things, lots of other confluence of effects there. But the main one being that rule change, and we all know that this year's rule change again would balance out over time. We know this would happen, but I don't think the example of that is the same thing we should be applying to the current 6-game rules, saying we should keep it because last time we did a massive rule change like this, the game balanced out again anyway. It's a bit different. Next question. Okay, he says, mostly asking this question after reading Heartland, but do you think there would ever be any point to including such rolling in BRL or Foley Shield statistics into the official rugby league statistics that we're all referencing? E.g., rolling in individual try or point scoring stats, premierships won, etc.
No.
No, in my point of view, yes, because
you would say that.
Well, why wouldn't I say that? It's the NRL is not New South Wales Rugby League, but the records don't exist. You've got to find them, get them all, and pull them up. But those if the New South Wales Rugby League back then is the same thing as Brisbane Rugby League. Like I think those things should be just rolled in, but they won't. I don't think they'll change many, records or anything. It's just be good to see if we're going to keep that old database. Let's see Wally Lewis's Brisbane Rugby League records.
Do you mean see them, or do you mean count them in terms of like all-time stats, like we do with, like what we have now?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, count them. Why is the competition like? Why is the New South Wales Rugby League more valid than
because all the best players played in the majority of the best players played in New South Wales. Why do you think?
I understand.
Why do you think New South Wales won the State of Origin thing every year? But when it was
not State of Origin, they won the state
where you play when
state representative match. I know. I understand that.
It was called.
I know the best players were there. I'm not stupid.
I don't think you're.
But it's not just then, right? So
yeah.
I could get again my example there, and I know it's all Ed cages. We're missing entire careers of greats of the '80s essentially as well. And again, I don't give a shit about most of the historical records because I don't care about a competition from 1915 played between university students and professionals. Just like in the NFL, they don't count the Super Bowl era.
Yeah,
and there's all time. I'm of the opinion NRL era should be a thing, but the whole industry doesn't drop the rest of it. So it can't just be me go, let's drop those.
I guess, but like to me, counting the Queensland Rugby League stats and all this stuff would be like when I see like little fucking dweebs on like Deadspin and stuff try to say that Ichiro is actually the hit king of baseball because they count his Japan Baseball League hits as well as his MLB hits. And I just think that's silly.
Yeah, I understand that one more because the MLB's been the MLB forever, though, hasn't it?
Well, it's just more that the fact that there's one
they put in the Negro League
competition. In. Well, that's not exactly the same thing, and they're not.
The Foley Shield may as well be the Negro League. That's North Queensland.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, back to like they're putting those. I understand it's not exactly the same thing, but yeah, I'm more of the opinion that I don't care about those as NRL records. Those like. I think that's more the thing. There's NRL records and then there's like rugby league records. The NRL record for me isn't something that happened in 1952.
I disagree. Souths have the most NRL titles, and that's all there is to it.
There you go. That's the old So once the Storm overtake you in like 6 years or whatever they need.
Oh, then we got to have a serious discussion. But until then,
yeah. Now his rest of the question was asking about all that, but yeah, I'm not going to ask the way the rest of it was written. Anyway, Doc Garland. Obviously, impossible financial and sponsorship reasons, but what would you guys think about the NRL jerseys emulating that of American sports jerseys in terms of no branding to sponsorship?
I mean, I think everybody agrees that jerseys look better without, sponsors slathered all over them. But he's answered his own question there in the sense that they're just leaving too much money on the table. I would love it. I would absolutely love it, but it will never happen. Well, not in Australia anyway.
NBA has opened up. People know this, right? NBA has shirt sponsors now, right? They're only small. But the door has been opened.
It's weird though, because does AFL have them?
I don't watch AFL, so
no, nor do I. But like,
they do have them.
Trying to think about
Sydney Swans one has.
I feel like they're a lot less.
Well, they haven't got sleeves.
True, but I feel like I'm just got AFL in my head right now, and I feel like I don't really remember recently anyway. Like teams having like some big ugly casino or something slathered, like smashed across the front of the shirt.
They have them like I can't envision many of them. In my head I can see the Gold Coast Suns that has like looks like a sponsorship, and then it has, but it's not. It's like GC on the chest.
Like I know the Swan. I think the Swans have QBE. Yeah, isn't it just like a tiny little thing like up on the?
They have
the chest?
They're kind of like the NFL one. Sorry, NBA ones on like the chest.
Yeah, I pulled it up now. Yeah, they don't have like it's just a little like patch.
Yeah. And they have the back ones too, but whatever. I don't care that much.
I think maybe that changed because I definitely do remember like back in the day when I used to watch it a little bit. Like I remember the West Coast Eagles had like a massive Hungry Jacks logo on the middle of their jersey, but now they don't. I just looked up their current jersey. The Hungry Jacks logo is now very small and is on the chest, and they just have an eagle where the big sponsor used to be. So maybe they got told they couldn't have those anymore. I do think they look better, obviously. Yeah, but it's a shame. It probably won't ever happen here.
No, it won't. And I remember when we were younger, when it was like one or two sponsors, and you watch a Super League, and it had like the sponsorship we have now pretty much comes from the Super League we're doing. There was like 1 million sponsors on there, or they'd have like they have different ones on either sleeve for Christ's sake in the Super League, and then different ones on the shorts, the back of the shorts, or whatever. And I used to laugh at that. And then, sure enough, we still have pretty much one sleeve sponsor, but we have back a jersey above the name and number. We have short sponsors front and back. We have 2 on the front of the jerseys for some teams. Like, yeah, bit crazy. I'm just like my teams. Like Brisbane's generally slow guys. Like the sponsor of the Broncos generally seem to let them put them in white. So like, I don't find mine teams that obtrusive. Like they have like on the front they have Kia, on the shoulders they have like First Mac, but the Ladbrokes on the back of the jersey and the national storage are both coloured. They suck. But some other teams, like, they're still the worst ones. And Kia was the Bulldogs. Bulldogs fans must hate Kia. They went to Brisbane. The moment they went to Brisbane, they changed from red. The red on the Bulldogs jersey was offensive.
Yeah, there's been some shockers over the years, but I still think that hideous Hocker Noodles logo in the middle of the West Tigers one was just atrociously bad. But
and you always wonder, some of these businesses, like, how do Hocker Noodles?
Well, we touched on this in Storytime last year, like Firepower somehow finagled their way into being on the front of the South jersey. And this was at a point where, and probably still, South's one of the most marketable sports brands in the country. And yet this Fugazi company managed to fucking, I don't know, finesse their way onto as the main shirt sponsor.
Okay. And over onto Discord for next questions. Mario Siegs, is there more of a coward in rugby league than Whiten? What did I miss?
Why is he a coward?
I don't think he's a coward. I don't know. And there's always more of a coward than Mario always goes to nth degree for these things. I don't know. What happened in the Manly game with them? I don't know. Brenton Sloan, you're appointed Raiders coach, effective immediately. Who plays halfback next season? Do you try to bring someone in, bring a junior through, or persist with Sam Williams or M. Frawley?
Well, Williams is better than Frawley, I think, but
the Raiders fans are keen to see Frawley this week. It's one of those things when you haven't bad halfback for enough weeks, and you're happy to see anyone else.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's like it's like any sport, right? When someone's struggling at a key position, you just clamor for the backup guy, even though he's probably worse.
Exactly. Like, Frawley's been okay. Williams just isn't good enough to play a whole season. For me, if I'm not Ricky, because Ricky's the halfback killer, like Ash Taylor's been turned down by everyone. Even the Bulldogs said no. I'd take a punt there.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Okay, Joe says, what is the inspiration for Kick-Out's hair? A sheepskin rug, uncooked pack of instant noodles, or a barrister's wig?
I think it's a combination of B and C.
Uncooked pack of instant noodles?
And a barrister's wig.
It was A, B,
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just sipped some water and went down the wrong way, and I don't want to cough on the podcast.
Yeah. That is fair.
I should just mute myself, but whatever.
I mean, that might have worked, but it's too late now. Do you have COVID?
No, I don't. But maybe no. I just had a drink and I just got air in with the liquid.
Can I catch it through a microphone?
Maybe.
Well, I read a study that said that I could. So
there you go.
Yep.
Lee Virgil. Why isn't a short kickoff used more?
I agree.
Cowardice.
Yep. Pretty much.
It's mainly cowardice. I mean, that's one of the ones that we're talking about coward stuff. It's like, I know field position's a big thing or whatever, but we see so many times you put that short kickoff in the mixer with a decent short kickoff taker, and opportunity. The score sizzler. What are all the things in your life that have changed since the West Tigers played finals football? Jesus.
Well, let's see. Smartphones? No.
No.
Yeah, they were around. I don't think I had Twitter when the Tigers last made the finals. It was 2011, right?
I think it'd be close.
Be close. I still lived at home.
Yeah. I've been overseas about 10 times in that period. So.
Yeah, same. Yeah. CM Punk was the best wrestler in the world, so that hasn't changed.
Yeah, so I ended like a 7-year relationship and started like a 4-year one. And so,
yeah,
there you go. Lots of things to change. I haven't had any. Other people would say this. They have like kids and shit in that period.
No, thanks.
We have you became vegan.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Actually, my dog was born. And
mine too.
He's almost like 10 years old. So there you go. He's never going to be with these great Tigers.
I don't think FIFA Ultimate Team existed the last time the West Tigers were in the final.
So generally, you're a happier person. You're saying?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, a lot happier. I had online poker hadn't been banned in Australia yet, so I was still trying.
Is that banned in Australia?
It's completely banned.
How long has that been banned for?
Like 4 or 5 years now.
That's why I don't hear anything about online poker anymore.
Yes, that is why it's awful. It's terrible.
Why
There's
is
ways
it
around it,
banned?
but because the government are morons.
Oh, because they can't take your money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Online.
Yeah. And then the only like politician that actually wanted to help was David Leyonhjelm, so that didn't really get off the ground.
Yeah, well, it's like how now they're going to let cops like just like take your data and like use your social media profile.
How could that go badly?
No, it's fine.
I'm going to become a cop just so I can post dicks on your social media account.
And the Labor Party's sort of happening again, the cowards.
Yeah, they're just waving it through. No dramas. But I will say though, just on the topic of the Tigers missing the finals every year since 2011, they get criticized a lot for that, and obviously rightfully so, because it's embarrassing in a league where half the teams make it every year to go 10 years without making the finals. But the Warriors in that time have only made the finals once, and they came 8th, and they lost their only finals game. So they've been just as bad with 1/100th of the criticism.
Because they're in New Zealand, mate. People still, even though they're going to be here for 3 years coming next year, no one cares. They just don't. The Warriors don't get held to account on anything. Never will.
Yep, true.
Simon says, what are you looking for in the next Tigers coach, and what names tick those boxes? I don't even know what I'm looking for at that club anymore.
I just don't know which coaches are good and which ones are bad, right? We only really see it when they actually get first grade opportunities, but not Paul Green.
Not Paul Green. I'd probably like, I know retrades aren't always great.
Not Stephen Kearney.
Flano, I think.
Yeah, obviously Flano's would be your number one
if
pick.
Brad Arthur gets punted by the Eels, that's who I'd be signing.
Agreed.
And then the other one, I'd try and give Cam Serraldo a chance. I don't think he'll take it.
John Morris, bring him home.
They just got something at that
club
club.
Legend.
Like how that culture, how they've changed so much, and the culture there of blame and everything still exists. Just there's something rotten with a lot of that stuff at that place. And I read like earlier this week. I'm not a big fan of his, but I read like a Tom Brady quote this week about blame. Mm. And the first thing that came to my mind was the West Tigers. You know, he said he went on about like, you know, he called sport the ultimate blame game. He said GMs, head coaches, players, quarterbacks, receivers, defense, offense. It's so easy to blame someone else. So I just say I didn't get the job done, and we collectively didn't get the job done. That's the best part about being a team sport. I picked a team. Everyone was like, "Hey, we got to get better." It's not. I got all the answers. You guys just all screwed up except me. Anyway, that thing made me think of the Tigers, because has that organization and fans as well not pointed their fingers at little separate things there for all the time for years? I mean, even Nofaluma's on social media blaming other people for him being shit. Like, and just got this rotten blame finger pointing culture, and they want to take shortcuts to fixing the issue. They always want to think like this year, Robbie Farah was a shortcut. They thought we'll bring him back and he'll be a trainer and whatever, that'll help. Or we'll bring Sheensy back, that'll help. Or, you know, we're lacking something on the field. We'll just go sign a forward leader, and James Tarmow will change the whole club. And then when those people don't do those things, which none of them were going to do, it's instantly like throw out the James Tarmows or, you know, whatever. It's just a lot of finger pointing there, and not a lot of strategic decision making, not a lot of long-term thinking at that club, not a lot of like, let's just bare bones of this thing. You know, let's just tell the former generation to fuck off. Like,
yes, let's do it.
Let's just tell them to fuck off.
It's just emblematic of Australia as a whole.
Yes.
Previous generations are holding us back. We need to push them aside and just get on with it.
We love you, Robbie. You can be an ambassador at sponsor things. You can talk at dinners.
Yeah, we'll roll you out at La Montage to
that's it.
Grease the wheels of the sponsors and stuff. But
that's it. But fuck off. And all that, like, just get rid of all those dudes. They need a better a better professional training center, which they're working on. And they do need a better coach as well. Because I just don't think Madge speaks to the current group of players there. I said that on this week's podcast. But also, it's like, what they'll end up doing is like bringing in a head coach and like two players and hoping like, if those two players better fix it or they're fucked as well. Let's do what they always do. They keep bringing in like these old retread forward leaders. They try to do it with Finucane again. It's like, he's not going to fix your club. He's not like
this is bigger than whoever's playing lock or prop for you.
Yes.
It seems obvious to us what they need to do, or at least the steps that have to start being taken, and yet it just doesn't happen.
No, they always should do playing. Everyone there seems to be saving their job and fighting for themselves, not fighting for their team. Anyway, next question. Harvey, who'd win a game between the Tigers? Can you believe let them go 13, and the Cowboys? Can you believe?
Let's really quickly try and do this. So fullback is Tedesco versus Ponga.
Yes.
All right. So advantage Tigers, but both good.
Yeah.
Tigers, you got Cora, Betty, and who else on the wing?
Adakar.
Yep. Oh yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah. Cows, you've got
I'm trying to think now. So you'd have Tigers. Tigers has been one done so often, it's a bit easier to do.
Yeah.
Because you'd have like Mitch Moses and Benji in the halves, like Woods for feeder, the front row, Harry Grant at 9.
Fuck off.
Or Marty Tapau's and then maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the Cowboys lost like Kickow and Brandon Smith and Jake Clifford. Like nobody gives a shit.
They just don't care.
They're up there. They're all out there. The Tigers thing gets reaction. And same with Brisbane right now, losing players gets reaction. But like, up in North Queensland, Brandon Smith, one of the best hookers in the game. Nobody cares. Bill Kickow, regarded by many, and not by me, but by many, is one of the best back rows in the comp. Kalen Ponga, we all know what Kalen Ponga is. Jake Clifford, we just saw that happen for worse versions. Bad. I'm going to say, who would win?
It's probably still Tigers, but it's nowhere near as, like, the way it's talked about, it makes it seem like every good player ever that a team has let go was the Tigers, and no one else ever does this, which is obviously not true.
Yeah.
Like, Addo Carr was at South before he was at Tigers. Let's not forget. Like, he's a South junior. He's allowed to slip through that crack. So
I'm trying to think who else would be from the Cowboys one that'd be a difference maker. And I guess that's like Frank Moeller lost now, but he also left Brisbane beforehand. I don't know. There's not as many difference makers. I'm thinking across the whole field. I think the Tigers you probably make a better 13.
Probably. There's probably guys we're forgetting.
There's definitely guys we're forgetting because we're just doing it audio wise. It's like that doing that player name question last week. Once I could take the audio off and think, it was quite easy to do, but doing it with the headphones on and talking it out, not great.
Yeah. The Cowboys had Felice Kafusi as well, didn't they?
They did, and Pat Kafusi.
Okay, so there's a couple. There's a couple more. So probably the edge goes to Cowboys on forwards, and the edge goes to Tigers on the backs. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, either way, as you said, those things. It's only overrated so much because the Tigers also keep losing.
That is true. Well, the Cowboys are also very bad, but they were very good for a while. So
yeah. Okay. Next question. Regularly wrong. Given how good Manly are with Turbo and how bad they are without him, would it be worthwhile attempting to do with Crocker? Do what Crocker did to Stewart in 2007.
We're not gonna. Didn't someone actually say that on the radio?
Did they?
Someone did say that. I think they were joking though, and people took it out of context and tried to cancel him. It was some dude on Triple M in Queensland. This happened like 6 weeks ago, I think. He was obviously joking, but like people tried to run at him. But
That's
obviously,
right,
we're not encouraging that sort of behavior. But if someone tried to do it, I wouldn't be that shocked.
The old knockout blow or some shit it was called, wasn't it? I can't remember. Should someone try and do that? Yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile.
It probably would, but I'm not going to encourage that.
Yeah, no. Ben Qualiata, much like shower beers are the best beers, a shower podcast's the worst podcast. And by extension, one of the best podcasts.
So the best podcast is the airport/airplane podcast.
You're real focused in there. You're
locked in, or the line for fucking airport security podcast. It's all the same thing. Just at airports podcasts. Very, very vital tool for survival. After that, for me, it's the playing video games podcast. Just like playing Fall Guys or FIFA or whatever. Just listening to podcast. After that, I don't know. I think they're the two that stand out for me.
The transit
podcast.
Yeah, that's always it.
But the thing is, my trip is not that long anymore. So like,
I don't listen to podcasts and travel anymore now. I actually find it hard to get the full concentration when I'm at home listening to them. So I don't want to walk one.
Yeah, walk one is not bad. Yeah, but I think that it's like, it's interesting. It's like I was talking to someone that's the other day. Like one of the worst byproducts of moving out of home and moving to a place much closer to the city was like losing so much like reading time or podcast consumption time on trains, which obviously is not a bad thing in the grand scheme of things, but it was remarkable how much more I read books in like 2012 than I do now.
Yeah, listen to far less podcasts than I used to. Obviously, being permanent work from home the last 2 years. And what are the shower podcasts the worst podcast? Well, I used to have a speaker in the bathroom.
Yeah, I listen to podcasts in the shower.
I don't really listen to them in the shower because I can't hear them.
I can. The only time I can't.
Like,
the only time
echo
I
too much and shit.
I can listen to them unless I'm also brushing my teeth, in which case I just put music on.
Yeah, so I'll put the podcast on once I get out of the shower. I haven't got a speaker in the shower here anymore. I'll probably have it in the future. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about the idea of someone listening to me in the shower though. That's what I started realizing.
No, I like it.
You like it? Yeah. Mario Siegs. There's 10 different positions on the field, meaning 50 top 5 players in the comp.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't mean that. Do Parramatta have a single top 5 player? If no, are they really underachieving given the roster? Or should we say, given everyone has the same salary cap, it's unacceptable they've been unable to get themselves a top 5 player?
Reed Marnie's a top 5 hooker.
Well,
sure.
I mean, I went to this the other week when I spoke about tiers of players, and
yeah, they don't have the guy, but they've got a few top 5 players.
Yeah.
I'd say Moses is in the top 5 halfbacks too.
Yeah, and I just think, but I don't think like top 5 is an arbitrary cutoff. Like their issue is not having. They have a lot of guys at the top 5 or 6 or 7 best in their position. Their issues they have none of the top 1 or 2.
Yeah, so
they have none of the upper echelon players.
Papali's probably near the top of his position too.
This year, yeah. Junior Paulo.
Sevo's a bit of a stretch. Paulo's up there.
Gutherson probably 6 or 7, despite being one
just
of the best
outside.
players.
I think Moses and Marnie are in the top 5 for their positions though. So
but
they've got a couple, but as you said, the problem is they don't have the guy. And
they don't.
You've got your boys have Tom Savoyevich, my boys have Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell. The Storm have Munster, Pappenhausen, Brits. They got so many guys, and then Penrith have Cleary, Toto, Kikau, Appy, Luai. So many. Burton probably as well. Like so many.
Yeah, and it's not about being top 5 because, like I said, that's an arbitrary cutoff. I think there's tiers in each position. It's like if you ask me to name the best props in the NRL, I think the first tier is Fisher Harris and Payne Haas, and that's it. Then there's a drop down to the next echelon. Still great players, but it's like
it's the same with
yeah.
lock, right? Like Tamalo, like I think Cam Murray is the second best lock in the NRL, but I think he's a step below Jason Tamaloa.
Yeah, that's fine. But if you drop for 5 and you say, well, they're in the top 5, it's like, well, the 5th could be really far from the 1.
Well, who is the 5th best lock? I don't even know.
I don't know, but it's like the fullback thing we did, which we've done a bit before. It's like there's definitely this upper echelon of like this is the top tier, which is to me is Teddy, Trell, and Tommy right now, and Kalen is the next tier on his own. And then the next tier is like, do I have Pappenhausen above Gutherson? Where that's where I'm starting to get there. Then if I start thinking as well, there's that. It's like, okay, well, what if I'm starting a club next year? I might say Gutherson is the 5th or 6th best fullback in the competition, but am I taking him over Reece Walsh starting a team next year? You're probably not. Because Reece Walsh has difference-making ability Gutherson hasn't got. Like, that's where their problem lies in the upper echelon of their players. But the other, there's also problems. They've just got something wrong with that group now that when they're losing together, then that's just it. They just go to shit now. There's a mental issue there with that too. But yeah, they haven't got any of those guys really up there. And, you could argue, like, Miss Moses is no doubt a top 5 halfback. But
yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't call him anywhere near like Nathan Cleary or Adam Reynolds.
Like
I know he played Origin over Reynolds, but
I mean, your man Kobe Hetherington is probably close to the 5th best lock, and he's nowhere
barely
near.
played.
And but like I'm just looking through the locks that are playing this weekend. Like I think Yo and Radley are 3rd and 4th after Murray and Tamalolo, and then after that, it's like I'm loath to mention him, but Jack DeBellin.
Well, I'd argue Yo's probably on the same tier as Murray now, but yeah, I'd say Radley's dropped down from there. Yeah,
and then there's like Jake Turbo.
But yeah, that's why 5 doesn't matter. 5 means nothing.
Nathan Brown might be 5th. I don't know, probably not.
Yeah,
even though there you go, there's another eel. Might be Nathan Brown top 5 lock. So
yeah, but it's like maybe. And that's it. Like it's hard to do those things because they're not. It's not flat. It's not 1 through 16 individual ranking. I think it's because also once you get past like 8, probably like 10 guys in the same system. For middles anyway. If you give like the past like top 7, 6, 7, 8, probably like 10 on the same level. The tiers get bigger as they go down.
I mean, and there are guys that are just a victim or a beneficiary of playing in a good team. Like if Cam Murray played for the Bulldogs, he wouldn't be as good. He just wouldn't. Like that's just how this works. And Jai Arron and Edge probably wouldn't work if he was playing for the Warriors. And Mark Nichols wouldn't be like a productive starting front row forward if he played for the Tigers. These are just facts. So
yeah, that's it. Next question. Ben Wallace, is there a team or coach Ash Taylor could go to where we see him live up to his early career hype, or is he just 2 years at this point?
Well, it won't be Souths because they signed Milford.
Well, he'll never live up to that hype ever.
No,
he won't.
I mean, he was getting the little Luke Brooks level hype at some points. So
he was paid like $1 million in his early 20s, getting called like, and like I know it's a long time ago, but you had like the Johns brothers and everyone calling him like the player to have in the competition, the best asset, like the next half, the next guy. To what he is now, he has 0 NRL offers currently.
It's quite funny though because like we've talked about the kid, but I already think that I've seen more from the kid this year than I ever saw in a young Ash Taylor. But I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, just and it's bizarre to think that Ash only played 112, 113 NRL games. Like, but being out of first grade with different off the field issues that mental related, not exactly indiscretion related or fitness related. But he's going into this off season, and the word is pretty much every club's turning him down. I think he's worthy of a reclamation project. But
someone should kick the tires on him. Obviously.
They should, but he's never going to be what we wanted him to be.
But I think he's too good to go to Super League.
Yeah, and he's 27 next year. Like
then again, I thought Aiden Caesar was too good to go to Super League. So.
Yeah, and also, but I feel sorry. I don't know if Ash wants to go there because Ash. We've seen this when he's had some troubles in the last couple of years. He's liked to go back home. He likes to go back to his family's place and stuff. It's like, it's really tough seeing one of those guys living over in England. Like who was, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, James Seguiaro moved over there and he's like, just couldn't handle it. Like I remember he wanted to like go fishing or something because he just, he's an outdoors person and like his teammates laughed at him. He didn't get that. Like, what do you mean I can't just like go fishing? You can't. It's winter, chief.
can go ice fishing on Lake Birmingham or some fucking bullshit. I don't know. That's not a real place.
So I don't know. I wish Ash would get another shot. And it's always easy to say, if we gave him to Trent Robinson or Wayne Bennett or Craig Bellamy, he'd be good. But you can say that about anybody. So I don't like.
You can't say that about Kyle Flanagan.
No, you can't. And or Brody Croft. But yeah. I don't think the Raiders are the right fit just because of the way Ricky's handled halves over a long time. And I didn't think the Bulldogs are the right fit either. Like, offered himself there. South, if Milford didn't go to South, that's why I would have.
Yeah, I would have been happy for them to give him a crack if they hadn't already just signed Milford. And you can't have both. So
I would like to have him at Brisbane now but they're not going to. So the word again now is that they're going to go with Staggs centre next year, which is, I'm always cool with Staggs going to centre. I like him there, but I don't love the idea of our Gus going to a season as our sixes being Gamble or Kelly, who have filled in admirably, but they're filled in.
Yeah.
So with that being our cattle, I want them to see them try Staggs. But if they were going to go play Staggs at centre, guys like Ash Taylor alongside Reynolds when he can socially loaf there, fine.
Yeah. Well, he played a lot better this year when Fogarty was doing all the work. So
yeah, like
it would be the same thing in that situation. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and he is just 2 years, I think, at this point. He's just gonna be that guy that he's just gonna have quiet weeks and quiet games, and it's easy to accept when he's on like 100K, 200K.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. Milford's not going to have any pressure at all on him next year.
Yeah.
So
anyway, Mario Siegs, Moses Sully throwing Schuster's mobile at the river and thinking it's funny. How successful is this human likely at the Dragons? Where of course skin color can affect the coach's opinion of your character. I think Mario is also one of the guys that didn't know that the game. It's a game that Josh Schuster signed up for.
But I'm here for jabs at the Dragons' expense.
I don't know how. Oh, sorry, Moneyball's have to say to explain the Dragons signings, but yeah, I don't know how this one falls into.
Moses Sully is like the least Moneyball signing of all time. This is a guy who's been overhyped and overrated and overpaid his entire career.
Correct.
What are you talking about?
And there's no like undervalued statistic of his. There's at least money.
Well, actually, he works really hard. No, he doesn't.
No,
he's a great trainer. No, he's not.
He's not. He's had his job taken by various reserve graders on various clubs. Oh,
Moneyball, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, they love that signing for big money. Anyway, Benny DTD, as two men, how angry are you at women who don't get the same treatment from the media when they might be in the wrong?
I mean, if there's one thing that makes me upset, Mitchell, it's women getting all the benefits from society.
It's about time somebody called that out, actually.
Yeah, I think so. If people are
responsible use
confused
of
by
our
this
platform.
question, we're not going to mention the guy, but there's a journalist from somewhere. I don't know. He deleted the tweet, but it said basically like, "Oh, why wasn't anything made of the fact that there was a female in the men's toilets? Imagine the outrage if it had been the other way around."
I'm like, did we even know which toilets they were in?
Well, also, like they both got kicked out of the pub, so the people that were there did treat them both equally. But
I mean, I've walked into a female toilet by accident. I don't think it was an outrage.
Also, I'm sorry, but it is objectively creepier for a dude to go into a women's bathroom than a woman to go into a men's. It just is. I'm sorry. That's just how the world works. Like I remember after City to Surf 2019, the last year we could go outside when that was on. So yeah, 2019, we went to like the Beach Road Hotel in Bondi like afterwards, and like women are insane when these women have lost their damn minds because the place was so busy and the women's bathroom line was so long. Women were just going to the men's bathroom and just taking the cubicles. And we were just like, yeah, all right, that's fine. And imagine the opposite. Imagine like, that's so weird, dude. You can't do that. That's creepy.
Yeah.
And it's different.
It is different. And it's like no one cared about the gender of the toilet, of the things they were doing. And I'm sorry, maybe there was ambiguous signs on the bathroom doors. I've been to those pubs where I'm like, shit, is it a man or a woman on this door? Because I don't fucking know. But that was bizarre. That's a bizarre way to look at that.
Yeah, hang on. I'll just pull it up because someone submitted it for Rookie Takes, and that's like a week away.
There's not enough pressure on Millie Boyle. You're right. It was really grill Millie.
Bernie Cohen. One issue I have with is why Elliot was asked to leave when this happened in the men's bathroom. Surely the female shouldn't be going into the men's room. Imagine if a bloke walked into the women's.
Yeah. On your Bernie. Who the fuck's Bernie Cohen?
He's verified, which they give to anyone, as I'm living proof of. Yeah. But
Bernie Cohen, who are you? I don't know.
It's not important. The important thing is like it's just such a bizarre take. But oh well, who cares?
Okay, and he's re-updated tweet was like Bernie Elliot that needs to cut back the grog. Oh no, he said that if this happened, the men's bathroom, I presume the NRLW player holds leave as well. That's all he's doing.
Yeah. No likes, no retweets.
Still there. Yeah, it's still there. That's it.
I don't understand.
Oh yeah, Bernie.
He's just saying what we're all thinking, mate.
I mean, she did leave as well. Like, imagine
it's so weird. The lot. I kind of get what he's saying, but at the same time, Adam Elliott probably makes 10 times as much money as Millie Boyle from playing rugby league. So it's like you can't sit there on one hand and be like, yeah, it's fine that women are paid less than men to play the same sport, blah, blah, blah. And then go, oh, it's not fair that she's not getting the same media treatment. It's like these things go hand in hand. The more high profile someone is based on like how popular what they do and how much they get paid for what they play is. And this is a clear example of that. Yeah. And I don't have an issue with it, to be honest. I don't care. And I don't really have an issue with the whole story. We talked about it on Monday. We both just think it's pretty funny more than anything else.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. This is I wish every rugby league scandal was something like this, where like no one got hurt. It's just funny. Like we need more stories like this, or George Burgess's dick, or Todd Carney pissing in his own mouth.
And less George Burgess having road DUI incidents in his first week.
And less, obviously, much worse things than that. So, yes. and more Chris Sandow running to training because he crashed his car.
More just having a bit of kissing in the toilet.
More Farmanu Brown putting his phone in the microwave, and more Liam Knight era guard is borderline because he was trying to get out of a DUI, but it's also fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Next question comes from V8 Tiger AU. Your favorite Rolling Stones songs? I'm not a Stones man. Are you a Stones man?
Not really. Paint It Black's a good song, I guess. Start Me Up's. I've never heard a Rolling Stones song I didn't like, but like I'm not like a Rolling Stones guy.
Yeah, like I'm going to give you the most boring answers. Like I like Satisfaction. I like Sympathy for the Devil. I like Start Me Up, but like, doesn't everybody like? I think he's probably looking for better answers than that. Looking for like my favorite song is some random thing that never got released. But I don't know. Yeah. Angie. I like Angie a lot, actually. That might be my favorite one.
There's another one. I can't remember what it's called.
Angie. No one says Angie like that.
What's Sympathy for the Devil is a great song.
It is. Ben Qualiada, do you think Josh Schuster has Apple Care?
It didn't look like it from his face.
It did not look like a man who just signed up.
I forgot Gimme Shelter. Gimme Shelter's their best song.
did not look like it. Just looked like he makes money now, but it still looks like a young man who just lost money. Like you remember being
He looks
18.
I swear it's the convenience factor more than anything else. To be honest,
it is. But when you're like 18, like, even if it doesn't matter if you got your first full-time job or something, when you lose like $5, you're like, oh my god, I am broken, financially ruined. But
Gimme Shelter's been used. Like the intro, the start of that song is used in like how many different sports documentaries or movies? You know it if you heard it.
All of them.
Yeah.
I rewatched the Irrelevant. I rewatched the Ashes series just to really get my finger on the pulse of Justin Langer level douchebaggery again. And it's so funny. Like once you rewatch it, knowing he's a douchebag, or the players don't like him, it's just great.
Yeah,
like he's just through gritted teeth all the time. Just mate, how mate, and acting like he's people's mates. But like the room of players freezing out every time he walks in.
Yeah, it's clear that he's a prick.
that he's speaking nice as the talking head. He's like talking like a nice mate. Like, and then you go back to cutting in the room's always awkward, but he's in it. Great. Last question on Discord.
Last summer, sleep kept us sane through the silence. This summer, you're going to need sleep to get over all of this. That's why it's the perfect time to upgrade to a Nectar mattress and get award-winning, precision-engineered sleep at incredible value. Prices start at just $499, and you get $399 in accessories thrown in, a 365-night home trial, and a forever warranty. Go to nectarsleep.com.
Ben Qualiata, what's the most you've ever lost on a game of odds on?
Well, me and former guest host of this podcast, Matty Wahlberg, you play this all the time when we go out. But it's always like fun. It's never anything as severe as like throwing your phone away. Like that's, I think, too much. Like little things like you won't go and take a sip out of someone's drink on that table over there and then just come back like nothing's happened. Or I think once it was like, I had to ask, like, we're out at a bar and there's like a table of girls next to us wearing like Christmas hats. And they're like, you won't go and ask one of them if you can have their Christmas hat. And, like, little things like that. So like just harmless banter.
Yeah.
You got anything?
No. I'd like to be part of a game with friends one day.
But maybe in 2023 or 4, we can go outside again.
Wouldn't that be nice? Just to play things with friends.
It would be. It would be. Before you go over to the Twitter questions, I'll give a quick shout out to our Patreon subscribers in those top 2 tiers. Remember, the only way to ensure that your question is read out is to be a member of our Patreon. So that's patreon.com/NRL Boom Rookies. And a quick thank you to Chris Avnell, Dave, Carlo Tyson, Rocky and Rafi, Stu, Wayne Ritchie, Alex Sergicomi, Anthony Anger, Ben Wallace, Blake Moretti, Butsy, Cam Beswick, Chris Slade, CTO, Dan Cullinane, Doc Hogg, an anonymous backer, Frankie, Jace G, James K, Jason, Jez, Joe Cordy, Joel Wrigley, Josh Brandon, Josh Thomas 98, Lachlan Hancock, Leon, Matty Jenkins, Matt Coleman, Matthew Duggan, Matty McPhee, Michael Moe, Morgan Watkins, My Ding Dong is Hard and I Am Sad, Never Trendy, Party Keg, Razor, Reese Brown, Rowan Edwards, Roxanne Clark, Seymour Butts, Simo, Stephen Hickey, Swarzy, Ty, the Not So Mature Student, Thor Laycock, Tom Hardy, and Warwick Ahern. Thank you so much for your continued support. To everyone in the lower tiers and to everyone who just listens, thank you as well.
Okay, over on Twitter, Johnny99 says, you walk into a bathroom at a pub. You see Elliot Boyle and Paul Kent all shirtless. Who are you passing the plate to first? And I only want to read this one because it's like, mate, if they've not got a plate in the toilet. No one's that prepared. But I like I'm obviously going to go to Millie first. Just see what's happening. But
then Elliot, then Millie again.
Yeah.
And we just repeat that process until Paul Kent leaves.
Yeah. There we go. Next question over there. Ant Farmer, if the Band-Aid Roosters beat Hot Shot South on Friday night, should Trenton Robinson get awarded Coach of the Year on the spot?
I'm normally loath to like be that guy that's like, oh, let's give the Coach of the Year to like the guy that did the best job with like a team that's not going to win anything. But just given their injury toll and the fact that they're still at this point in the top 4, I think he probably has to win it this year.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think it was what was it the other day. It's like if I was asked to take an NRL coach just for like 3 years to a club. So I'm not talking about, the Bellamy set a system up and do what he does forever, all that kind of thing. I think he's the top of my list if I got asked who I could have for 3 years in the future. So I think he's done an exceptional job this year. I know he can annoy the fans sometimes with some of his decision making, like, oh, why are they doing, why didn't they play Copley the first week? Why is this not happen? Why that happened? But it's like a lot of it's just worked out for him anyway. Works out in the long run anyway. I think he's done a fantastic job this year, all things considered. And I also do think he would be my coach of the year. He won't get it, but because as a coach in this season who's going to win 20 games in a row, so they won't give it to Robbo. But I mean, the team that they couldn't even name 21 players for this week.
It's ridiculous. That idiot that got sinned in or sent off for punching last time we played them can't even make the 17 still, which is funny. What's his name? Saluka Fafita or whatever. Yeah. Amusing. Two more questions. All right. One more.
Edwin Smith says, "What's the best D's nuts joke you've seen or been a part of?"
I think
he wants to call back for his own joke.
Yeah, when me and Edwin got his brother Nigel with I bet you can't name an African country starting with K, and after 10 minutes he eventually said Kenya, to which we replied, "Kenya suck on D's nuts."
Everyone else was sitting there patiently watching this idiot fall into the trap, like waiting for the moment,
and it was worth it.
It was. And the last question there comes from Josh 99 Coleman. He asked naming the best chubby/fat starting 13.
Why would you ask this question?
I'm just saying it's just the best 13 in general, sir. How dare you?
Okay.
All the big boys are the best.
Latrell, Thaiday, Chrissy, George Rose.
Yeah.
Brandon Smith's the hooker.
Both Lewis.
Yep. Could be a couple others. No, we almost named the whole team.
Just disrespect for the big fellas.
Yeah. Mark Tukey's in there somewhere.
Kemal Marlowe's on a wing.
Yeah, okay. There's not really any chunky wingers, are there?
No.
Matt Utai. What are we talking about?
Does he count? He counts as chunky.
Yeah.
He's thick. He's a thick boy. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I think that's all the questions then.
We did it. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of me as well.
Okay, great. All right. Everyone enjoy the rugby league this weekend. We'll be back next week. Say goodbye, Mitchell.
Goodbye, Mitchell.
And it's goodbye from me.
Acast powers some of the world's best podcasts. Here's a show we recommend.
The Unmistakable Creative gives you timeless practical wisdom for living a meaningful life. Listen to deep, meaningful conversations with creatives, misfits, rebels, and changemakers.
At their core, people don't believe that they're good enough. So they get into this whole fake it till you make it paradigm in order to gain the credibility that is going to lead to the attention that's going to lead to their success.
Subscribe to The Unmistakable Creative wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast recommends.